case of now having to correct and say that there's only 9 deceased persons instead of 10. We want to get information out as quick as possible, but we also appreciate that that information needs to be accurate, because particularly when we're dealing with victims or again with the identity of the suspect, we have to take into consideration. In this case, our specialist was deceased. We had to locate next of kin to notify them. So I would hate, notwithstanding the public interest, I would hate for someone to find out that their loved one is deceased, coming from our podium or coming from the news media in advance of being told in person.
And I have one other question here from Ruth with Energetic C. Was the suspect related to anyone in the school?
I can say that the suspect was not related to any of the victims of the school. I don't have any broader information beyond that, other than say that the suspect was related to the 2 victims at the private residence.
Did the suspect leave a note or any other communication in advance of this happening?
Not that we've located so far, but we are continuing to pursue that.
So are you able to give us sort of what the police's working theory is on why this happened?
But we don't have an idea yet as to what. And again, recognizing we're still less than 24 hours into this incident, it is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing. But it would be too early to speculate on motive at this time.
Was there a poll put out to be on the lookout for prior to the shootings regarding the suspect?
Not that I'm aware of, but once the shootings commenced, we did issue the public police alert.
And did police open fire on the suspect?
Well, police did not return fire to the best of my knowledge, but it went into the school.
Where in the school were the victims killed?
There was one victim that was located deceased in the hallway, in the stairwell of the school, and the others were located, I believe, in the library.
Can you comment on the home of the shooter? Was it in disarray? Sometimes when there's some sort of abuse going on, there's certain things you can see in a home. Was there anything like that apparent?
I can't comment yet on the nature or the environment of the family home. It was locked out originally for secure search warrant in order to allow our investigators to go in. So I can't comment at this point.
Can you give us a rough address of the home, like where the 2 people found deceased?
I do have that information. It will be locked down, so I would respectfully ask members of the media and the public not to attend the scene of the family home, because we have a lot going on there, but it's 112 Fellows Avenue at Tumbler Ridge.
Regarding the home, were there additional firearms or weapons found during the search?
I don't have that information at this point in time. I can say that historically there were firearms that were secured at that residence. And say that I haven't different investigators yet to determine that they've gone in and located firearms.
Just for clarifications, you talked about police being called to the school and the shooting. Were they called to the home before that?
Yes, no, they were called after. So we understand the sequence of events. I'll get to it. So we did not receive a call to attend the home until approximately 2:47 p.m. or 1:47 p.m. Pacific time. We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that went to the neighbors, and that's how we learned that there were 2 deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police. You know, the sequence of events now is that the incident at the home occurred first, where we have the 2 deceased family members, and from there our suspect attended the school and commenced criminal activity there.
What was the relationship of the child who alerted the neighbor to the victims and the suspects?
So the re-identification process been completed for the injured and their accused?
For the students, so most of the what I would call injured individuals are people that were assessed for injury were released right in Tumbler Ridge shortly after receiving triage and or treatment. Those that have been medevaced, I can't speak to that, but I won't speculate on whether they've been worked out with the family. We're still dealing with extended family of those that are deceased.
Do police believe, based on the information you have thus far, that suspect had gone into the school
specifically targeting an individual, or it was a random shooting?
So we don't have information at this point to suggest that anyone was specifically targeted. I will say that as we continue with the investigation, there is further evidence to gather from the school with respect to surveillance and that of our officers as well.
What can we expect with the victim IDs? Will the RCMP be naming them, and what status are you at with the family notification?
So we're currently ongoing with family notification. I will say, as I mentioned before, that most of our victims are quite different. Most were born, not the students, most were born in 2013, 2012. So as you can imagine, for family members, extended family members, friends and family, so this is sort of we're dealing with. And we work with the families and cooperate with them in terms of the release of the identities of the victims, photographs, and the like. That can, we need to approach this with a trauma-informed practice. We don't want to create additional trauma for families that are dealing with probably the worst circumstances of their lives.
So some victims may not be named officially, or that will be up to the families.
That will be up to the families as their minors.
In terms of the 25 people who were injured, how many of them sustained gunshot wounds?
So of the 25 surviving individuals, 2 that are currently airlifted, the majority of the rest that were not gunshot injuries. The reason they were all examined and triaged in first instance is there were a lot of them presented with injury, et cetera, that weren't actually injured, but we had to look through all that.
So what kind of injuries were they? Was it like glass or?
I don't want to speculate on the exact details, but you can imagine in a chaotic situation with the students and faculty are barricading themselves in a room that any types of injuries could result.
Were there any, you mentioned that there weren't any recent, no recent involvement with police and the suspect, but were there any calls, concerns by anyone in the public to police about the suspect in recent days, weeks, months?
The most recent incidents I have were from spring of last year, so we've checked our place in indices of databases, et cetera. I don't have any information that there's been anything since then.
And could you give us the context of the spring of last year?
Similar to what I said before, with concerns regarding mental health, self-harm, those types of concerns.
Okay, we'll take 2 final questions.
Just to clear injured, so was it 27 injured in total and 2 airlifted 25? Or was it the 2?
I don't mean to smile about that. To clarify that, I'm going to say I'm not entirely certain because we have injured from gunshot wounds, we have deceased, and we have those that were triaged at scene. I'm going to say that the 25 that were triaged at scene are separate from those other airlifted and those others.
And sir, we just have one other question here regarding the victims. The ones that were airlifted, do we have any updates on their status at this point?
Critical to statement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Correct. One thing that just came in as sort of up here speaking. So for the deceased victims, the school included a 39-year-old female educator, 3 12-year-old female students, 2 male students ages 12 and 13, and then the 2 additional victims were a 39-year-old female and an 11-year-old male that were located deceased at the local residence. We will be issuing a statement shortly following this availability.
This is a deeply distressing incident where 9 individuals have sensitively lost their lives. Thoughts of the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community, and all those impacted by this tragic incident. If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer, when you hear from police, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So the suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance and family residence. Some of those calls are related to mental health issues.
Could you spell the suspect's name, please?
Yes. The first name is spelled Jesse. The surname is spelled capital V-A-N, space, capital R-O-O-T-S-E-L-A-A-R.
Were the 2 victims found at the residence where the suspect lived?
Yes.
And why can't you elaborate on the relationship between the victims and in that residence and
I can't elaborate on that. So it's believed the victims of that residence and the suspect are family members.
can you say what parent sibling, what relationship that is?
Yes, the female adult victim is the mother of the suspect, and the youth male is the bride of the suspect, or stepbrother.
Can you expand, you talked about the history of mental health with this female suspect. Could you expand on that?
I'll give you perhaps from the in general comments on that. Police have attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was admitted for assessment and follow.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to hospital?
In some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding counseling, any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. The suspect was currently receiving care. I don't have that information.
And any of the interactions with police, did any of them have to do with weapons, guns in particular?
Yes.
Could you expand on that, please?
I will say that, again, not trying to be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned that those firearms to be returned, and they were.
Were criminal charges laid in relation to those firearms? So let's put that fire on media. My question is, we've heard all around the world reports coming up from the different media, all over the world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge actually people that know the shooter, and they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from us?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this. We identify the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female both socially and publicly.
Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of transgender and mass shootings. Do you do this information here?
It's too early to say whether that has any correlation with this investigation. I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have seen still a lockdown in school and the residents while we execute search warrants and get further evidence and talk to witnesses that may have further evidence for close things.
How can you tell us about the right TV? I will say that if you're women, please try to answer your last in contact with Jensen.
That's a good question. I probably have an answer somewhere here in my papers, but I believe we were there sometime last year.
And then in the last few days.
Not in the last few weeks, that's correct.
Okay, and you talked about, the guns that were recovered. And can you say, even though who owned those guns, whether it came to the police?
So I will say this, I know the guns are of significant interest to everybody. Part of the reason we haven't identified the specific models of the firearms or ownership is because at this point in time, our investigators continue to pursue those leads. We want to make sure that the information we do provide is accurate. We want to ensure that we can identify properly the ownership of the firearms, how they were procured, whether they were lawfully owned, unlawfully owned, whether they're manufactured, whether there could be any other party things that we are not yet aware of. So when we are able to release that information, we certainly will.
He was quite young. Did he have a license?
I can say that she had a license that had expired. I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered through the.
Can you talk about, sir, any indication of the information you have regarding Jesse experiencing bullying at the school, any sort of difficulty at the school because of this transition from male to female?
I do not have any information to suggest that was the case. I can say that Jesse dropped out of school approximately 4 years ago. It was not currently attending school.
Sir, I have a question here from Jerry from the Western Standard. They wanted to just know why we waited until now to confirm the identity of the suspect.
It's a good question. I know it's one of concern, specifically with the speed of social media. I think it's important to recognize that yesterday, when we first provided the media availability, it was approximately 5 hours after the active shooter event. At that point in time, we were still trying to lock down locations. We had victims we were evacuating. As you can imagine, the scene was quite chaotic with significant amount of trauma. And it's important for us, when we do release information, to get it accurate. I point to the case of now having to correct and say that there's only 9 deceased persons instead of 10. We want to give information as quick as possible, but we also appreciate that information needs to be accurate because, particularly when we're dealing with victims or again with the identity of the suspect, we have to take into consideration. In this case, our suspect was deceased. We had to locate next of kin to notify them. So I would hate, notwithstanding the public interest, I would hate for someone to find out that their loved one is deceased. Coming from our podium or coming from the news media in advance of being told in person.
And I have one other question here from Ruth with Energetic C. Was the suspect related to anyone in the school?
I can say that the suspect was not related to any of the victims of the school. I don't have any broader information beyond that, other than say that the suspect was related to the 2 victims at the private residence.
Did the suspects leave a note or any other communication in advance of this happening?
Not that we've located so far, but we are continuing to pursue that.
So are you able to give us sort of what the police's working theory is on why this happened?
We don't have an idea yet as to what, and again, recognizing we're still less than 24 hours into this incident, it is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing. But it would be too early to speculate on at this point.
Was there a poll put out to be on the lookout for prior to the shootings regarding the suspect?
Not that I'm aware of, but once the shootings commenced, we did issue the public police alert.
And did police open fire on the suspect?
Well, police did not return fire to the best of my knowledge, but it went to the school.
Where in the school were the victims killed?
There was one victim that was located deceased in the hallway, in the stairwell of the school, and the others were located, I believe, in the library.
Can you comment on the home of the shooter? Was it in disarray? Sometimes when there's some sort of abuse going on, there's certain things you can see in the home. Was there anything like that apparent?
I can't comment yet on the nature or the environment of the family home. It was locked out originally for a secure search warrant in order to allow our investigators to go in. So I can't comment at this point.
Can you start off address of the, like, where the two people found deceased?
I do have that information. It will be locked down, so I would respectfully ask members of the public not to attend the scene at the family home because we have a lot going on there, but it's one like two fellas adding in a Tumbler Ridge.
Regarding the whole, were there additional firearms or weapons found during the search?
I don't have that information at this point in time. I can say that historically there were firearms that were secured at that residence. And say that I haven't different investigators yet to determine that they've gone and located firearms.
Just a few clarifications, you talked about police being called to school and pushing. Were they called to the home before that?
Yes, no, they were called after. So we understand the sequence of events. So we did not receive a call to attend the home until approximately 2:47 p.m. or 1:47 p.m. Pacific time. We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that went to the neighbors, and that's how we learned that there were two deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police. You know, the sequence of events now is that the incident at the home occurred first, where we had the two deceased family members, and from there our suspect attended the school and convinced criminal activity.
What was the relationship of the child who alerted the neighbor to the victims and the suspects?
So the reunification process will be needed for the injured and
For the students, so most of the what I would call injured individuals are people that were assessed for injury were released right in Tumbler Ridge shortly after receiving triage and or treatment. Those have been brought back. I can't speak to that, but I won't speculate on whether they've been given with the family. We're still dealing with extended family of those that are deceased.
Do police believe, based on the information thus far, that suspect had gone into the school specifically targeting an individual, or it was a random shooting?
So we don't have information at this point to suggest that anyone was specifically targeted. I will say that as we continue with the investigation, there is further evidence to gather from the school with respect to surveillance and that of our officers as well.
What can we expect with your victim IDs? Will the RCMP be using them, and what status are you at with the family notification?
So we're currently ongoing with family notification. I will say, as I mentioned before, most of our victims are quite different. Most were born, not the students, most were born in 2013, 2012. So as you can imagine, for our family, this is given family members, friends and family, so this is something we're dealing with. And we work with the families and cooperate with them in terms of the release of the identities of the victims, photographs, and the like. That can, we need to approach this with a trauma-informed practice. We don't want to create additional trauma for families that are dealing with probably the worst circumstances of their lives.
So some victims may not be notified, or that will be up to the families.
That will be up to the families as their writers.
In terms of the 25 people who were injured, how many of those sustained gunshot wounds?
So of the 25 surviving individuals, two that are currently airlifted, the majority of the rest that were not gunshot injuries. The reason they were all examined and triaged in first instance is there were all of them presented with injury, etc. that weren't actually injured, but we had to look through all that.
So what kind of injuries were they? Was it like glass?
I want to speculate about the exact details, but you can imagine in a chaotic situation where the students and faculty are barricading themselves in room, that any types of injuries would result.
Were there any, you mentioned that there weren't any no recent involvement with police and the suspect, but were there any calls, concerns by anyone in the public to police about the suspect in recent days, weeks, months?
The most recent incidents I have were from the spring of last year, so we've tracked our place in indices of databases, etc. I have not had any information that there's been anything since then.
And could you give us the context of the spring of last year?
Similar to what I said before, the concerns regarding health, self-harm, those types of concerns.
Okay, we'll take two final questions.
Just to clear, injured, so was it 27 injured in total and 2 airlifted 25? Or was it
So I don't mean to smile like that. To clarify that, I'm going to say I'm not entirely certain because we have injured from gunshot wounds, we have deceased, and we have those that were triaged at scene. I'm going to say that the 25 that were triaged at scene are separate from those that are airlifted and those that are deceased.
And then, sir, we just
A
have
little bit on the suspect.
Circumstances of what transpired. What transpired. This is a deeply distressing incident where 9 individuals have sensibly lost their lives. Thoughts of the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community, and all those impacted by this tragic incident. If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this moment.
Officer, remove from News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance and family residence. Some of those calls are related to mental health issues.
Could you spell the suspect's name, please?
Yes. The first name is spelled Jesse. The surname is spelled capital V-A-N, space, capital R-O-O-T-S-E-L-A-A-R.
Were the two victims found at the residence where the suspect lived?
Yes.
And why can't you elaborate on the relationship between the victims and in that residence and
I can't elaborate on that. So it is believed the victims of that residence and the suspect are family members.
can you say what parent, sibling, what relationship that is?
Yes, the female adult victim is the mother of the suspect, and the youth male is the brother of the suspect, or stepbrother.
Can you expand, you talked about the history of mental health with this female suspect. Could you expand on that?
I'm giving perhaps related to general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was admitted for assessment and follow.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act,
Yes.
taken to hospital.
In some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding counseling, any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. If the suspect was currently receiving care, I don't have that information.
And any of the interactions with police, did any of them have to do with weapons, guns in particular?
Yes.
Could you expand on that, please?
I will say that, again, not trying to be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned that those firearms to be returned and they were.
Were criminal charges laid in relation to those firearms? So let's put that file on media.
My question is, we've heard all around the world, reports coming up from the different media, all over the world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge actually people that know the shooter. And they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from us?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this, we identify the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male, who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female both socially and publicly.
Fortunately, we've got a lot of transgender and mass school shootings. Do you do this information here?
It's too early to say whether that has any correlation with this investigation. I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have seen still lockdown in school and the residents while we execute search warrants and get further evidence and talk to witnesses that they had further evidence for close.
How can you tell us about the right to pay? I also, if you tell me when these private administrator last in contact with, Justin.
It's a good question. I probably have an answer somewhere here in my papers, but I believe we were there sometime last year.
And nothing in the last few days.
Not in the last few weeks, that's correct.
Okay, can you talk about, the guns that were recovered? And can you say, you can go through those guns, whether it came to the police?
So I'm going to say this, I know the guns are of significant interest to everybody. Part of the reason we haven't identified the specific models of the firearms or ownership is because at this point in time, our investigators continue to pursue those leads. We want to make sure that the information we do provide is accurate. We want to ensure that we can identify properly the ownership of the firearms, how they were procured, whether they were lawfully owned, unlawfully owned, whether they're manufactured, whether there could be any other party things that we are not yet aware of. So when we are able to release that information, we certainly will.
He was quite young. Did he have a license?
I can say that she had a license that had expired. I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered through the.
Can you talk about, sir, any indication of the information you have regarding Jesse experiencing bullying at the school, any sort of difficulty at the school because of this transition from male to female?
I do not have any information to suggest that was the case. I can say that Jesse dropped out of school approximately 4 years ago. It was not currently attending school.
Sir, I have a question here from Jerry from the Western Standard. They wanted to just know why we waited until now to confirm the identity of the suspect.
It's a good question. I know it's one of concern, specifically with the speed of social media. I think it's important to recognize that yesterday, when we first provided the media availability, it was approximately 5 hours after the active shooter event. At that point in time, we were still trying to lock down locations. We had victims we were evacuating. As you can imagine, the scene was quite chaotic with significant amount of trauma. And it's important for us, when we do release information, to get it accurate. I point to the case of now having to correct and say that there's only 9 deceased persons instead of 10. We want to give information as quick as possible, but we also appreciate that that information needs to be accurate because, particularly when we're dealing with victims or again with the identity of the suspect, we have to take into consideration. In this case, our suspect was deceased. We had to locate next of kin to notify them. So I would hate, notwithstanding the public interest, I would hate for someone to find out that their loved one is deceased. Coming from our podium or coming from the news media in advance of being told in person.
And I have one other question here from Ruth with Energetic C. Was the suspect related to anyone in the school?
I can say that the suspect was not related to any of the victims of the school. I don't have any broader information beyond that, other than say that the suspect was related to the 2 victims at the private residence.
Did the suspects leave a note or any other communication in advance of this happening?
Not that we've located so far, but we are continuing to pursue that.
So are you able to give us sort of what the police's working theory is on why this happened?
We don't have an idea yet as to what, and again, recognizing we're still less than 24 hours into this incident, it is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing. But it would be too early to speculate on at this point.
Was there a poll put out to be on the lookout for prior to the shootings regarding the suspect?
Not that I'm aware of, but once the shootings commenced, we did issue the public police alert.
And did police open fire on the suspect?
Well, please do not return fire to the best of my knowledge, but went to the school.
Where in the school were the victims killed?
There was one victim that was located deceased in the hallway, in the stairwell of the school, and the others were located, I believe, in the library.
Can you comment on the home of the shooter? Was it in disarray? Sometimes when there's some sort of abuse going on, there's certain things you can see in the home. Was there anything like that apparent?
I can't comment yet on the nature or the environment of the family home. It was locked out originally for secure search warrant in order to allow our investigators to go in. So I can't comment at this point.
Can you start off address of the home, like where the two people found deceased?
I do have that information. It will be locked down, so I would respectfully ask members of the public not to attend the scene of the family home because we have a lot going on there, but it's one of two fellas adding at Tumbler Ridge.
Regarding the home, were there additional firearms or weapons found during the search?
I don't have that information at this point in time. I can say that historically there were firearms that were secured at that residence. And say that I haven't investigators yet to determine that they've gone and located firearms.
Just a few clarifications, you talked about police being called to the school and pushing. Did they call to the home before that?
Yes, no, they were called after. So we understand the sequence of events. So we did not receive a call to attend the home until approximately 2:47 p.m. or 1:47 p.m. Pacific time. We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that went to the neighbors, and that's how we learned that there were two deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police. You know, the sequence of events now is that the incident at the home occurred first, where we had the two deceased family members, and from there our suspect attended the school and commenced criminal activity.
What was the relationship of the child who alerted the neighbor to the victims and the suspects?
So the reunification process will be needed for the injured and
For the students, so most of the what I would call injured individuals are people that were assessed for injury were released right in Tumbler Ridge shortly after receiving triage and or treatment. Those have been medevac. I can't speak to that, but I won't speculate on whether they've been contact with the family. We're still dealing with extended family of those that are deceased.
Do police believe, based on the information thus far, that suspect had gone into the school specifically targeting an individual, or it was a random shooting?
So we don't have information at this point to suggest that anyone was specifically targeted. I will say that as we continue with the investigation, there is further evidence to gather from the school with respect to surveillance and that of our officers as well.
What can we expect with your victim IDs? Will the RCMP be using them, and what status are you at with the family notification?
So we're currently ongoing with family notification. I will say, as I mentioned before, that most of our victims are quite different. Most were born, not the students, most were born in 2013, 2012. So as you can imagine, for our family, this is given family members, friends and family, so this is something we're dealing with. And we work with the families and cooperate with them in terms of the release of the identities of the victims, photographs, and the like. We need to approach this with a trauma-informed practice. We don't want to create additional trauma for families that are dealing with probably the worst circumstances of lives.
So some victims may not be notified, or that will be up to the families.
That will be up to the families as their minors.
In terms of the 25 people who were injured, how many of them sustained gunshot wounds?
So of the 25 surviving individuals, two that are currently airlifted, the majority of the rest that were not gunshot injuries. The reason they were all examined and triaged in first instance is they were all of them presented with injury, etc., that weren't potentially injured, but we had to work through all that.
So what kind of injuries were they? Was it like glass?
I want to speculate on the exact details, but you can imagine in a chaotic situation where the students and faculty are barricading themselves in the room, that any types of injuries would result.
Were there any, you mentioned that there weren't any recent, no recent involvement with police and the suspect. But were there any calls, concerns by anyone in the public to police about the suspect in recent days, weeks, months?
The most recent incidents I have were from spring of last year, so we've tracked our place in indices and databases, etc. I have not had any information that there's been anything since then.
And could you give us the context of the spring of last year?
Similar to what I said before, with concerns regarding mental health, self-harm, those types of concerns.
Okay, we'll take two final questions.
Just to clear, injured, so was it 27 injured in total and 2 airlifted 25? Or was it
I don't mean to smile about that. To clarify that, I'm going to say I'm not entirely certain because we have injured from gunshot wounds, we have deceased, and we have those that were triaged at scene. I'm going to say that the 25 that were triaged at scene are separate from those that are airlifted and those others.
And then, sir, we just have one other question here regarding the victims. The ones that were airlifted, do we have any updates on their status at this point?
Critical to statement.
Thank you, sir.
What transpired. This is a deeply distressing incident where 9 individuals have senselessly lost their lives. Thoughts of the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community, and all those impacted by this tragic incident. If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer, when you ran from Global News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So the suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance and family residence. Some of those calls are related to mental health issues.
Could you spell the suspect's name, please?
Yes. The first name is spelled Jesse. The surname is spelled capital V-A-N, space, capital R-O-O-T-S-E-L-A-A-R.
Were the two victims found at the residence where the suspect lived?
Yes.
And why can't you elaborate on the relationship between the victims and in that residence and
I can't elaborate on that. So it is believed the victims of that residence and the suspect are family members.
can you say what parent, sibling, what relationship that is?
Yes, the female adult victim is the mother of the suspect, and the youth male is the bride of the suspect, or stepbrother.
Can you expand, you talked about the history of mental health with this female suspect. Could you expand on that?
I'll give you perhaps maybe some general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was admitted for assessment and follow.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to hospital?
In some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding counseling, any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. If the suspect was currently receiving care, I don't have that information.
And any of the interactions with police, did any of them have to do with weapons, guns in particular?
Yes.
Could you expand on that, please?
I will say that, again, not trying to be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned that the those firearms to be returned and they were.
Or criminal charges laid in relation to those firearms? So let's put that fire on media. My question is, we've heard all around the world, reports coming up from the movement media, all over the world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge actually know that know the shooter. And they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from them?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this, we identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male, who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago, began to transition to female and identified as female, both socially and publicly.
Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of transgender and mass school shootings. Do you do this information here?
It's too early to say whether that has any correlation with this investigation. I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have seen still a lockdown in school and the residents while we execute search warrants and get further evidence and talk to witnesses that they have further evidence for close.
How can you tell us about the right to pay? I also, if you tell them, please, prior to yesterday, last in contact with, Jesse.
It's a good question. I probably have an answer somewhere here in my papers, but I believe we were there sometime last year.
And then in the last few days.
Not in the last few weeks, that's correct.
Okay, and you talked about, the guns that were recovered. And can you say, you can both own those guns, whether it came to the police?
So I'm going to say this, I know the guns are of significant interest to everybody. Part of the reason we haven't identified the specific models of the firearms or ownership is because at this point in time, our investigators continue to pursue those leads. We want to make sure that the information we do provide is accurate. We want to ensure that we can identify properly the ownership of the firearms, how they were procured, whether they were lawfully owned, unlawfully owned, whether they're manufactured, whether there could be any other party things that we are not yet aware of. So when we are able to release that information, we certainly will.